No.
How you doing this morning, Tom?
I'm good. How are you? How's
Um,
everyone this morning?
Morning, Tom.
Good morning. Yeah, that is a beautiful scenery back there.
Yeah, Kenny built that waterfall, and I don't know if you can see our boat. Maybe.
I can. Hey,
Yeah.
Kenny. How you doing?
Good. See you in about 8 hours.
So are you still coming here today?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
we have to because of the Chosen being on the set on time.
Okay. Okay. Well, I hope I'm going to be able to see you guys.
Absolutely. Well,
We'll text you.
we'll come to you.
Well, you'll see my house for sure. They're traveling this way, Tom, so they're going to park in one of the Airbnbs. I'm trying to convince them to actually stay inside.
Oh my goodness.
We have an RV.
We're gonna live in it starting tonight
Yeah.
for 3 years.
That'll be our home for 3 years.
Oh,
Are you serious?
Yes.
Is that what you decided to do?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's
You've
old
lost-
news. That's
you've lost
solid
your
2
mind.
weeks old
Yeah.
news.
That'll be our tiny home. Yeah. Where you been?
So where are you going to park it?
Oh, we're gonna be gypsies wherever it goes. No,
No.
we have an RV park waiting for us on the 12th in Colorado, and then that closes down in
October.
October, and then we have the one we'll move to from there.
That'll be closer to the college. The
Okay.
RV parks close to the college are booked solid through the summer. So
Oh.
we'll stay in one place and then move in October.
So RV and storage facilities. That's the new real estate.
Yeah.
Well, I'm loving both of those because I happen to have two facilities that are storage with RV parking. Woo!
There you go.
We realize we have too much stuff if we have to have a storage.
That's, well, not necessarily. You're living in an RV.
I'm renting out our house.
Y'all
That
have a
is-
wonderful day.
That
I
is
gotta start.
we're really, really cool. Really, really cool. Good morning, Sue.
Morning.
How are ya?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I see Brian, and I know I let Don Harris in, and Wendell joined us. And Kirby, how you doing, Kirby?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm a new guy, so I'm a new face to everybody. Good morning.
We're glad to have you here. We actually have probably 3 or 4 people that started right in the beginning that are new too, which I'm really, really glad to have all of you. You're going to be glad you did it. You're be glad you got up early.
Absolutely.
It's always big fun. So, anybody do anything exciting for Memorial? I mean, yeah, it was Memorial Day. Nothing exciting? Tom, what'd you
Bought a
do?
house.
You did what on a house?
I bought a house in Florida.
You bought one? Congratulations, Don.
Is
That's
this St.
awesome.
Augustine that you purchased the house?
How did you know that?
Hey, after seeing all those pictures that you sent when you're there with your son, I said, man, this looks like paradise.
Come on down.
So is your intention to spend more time down there and more time away from here, or are you just looking for a place to stay when you visit already?
Yeah, just a place to stay when we go so much already.
Awesome. So are you thinking of short-term renting when you're not
I got
there?
a full-time job up here,
Yeah, you do.
No, that's a condo and
Oh.
doesn't even allow.
Oh, so your friends will have to fill in for you.
Yeah, that's the plan.
That's good. I'm happy to volunteer. I'm always willing to take one for the team.
Yeah, I would like to.
Hey,
I
Tom.
appreciate y'all.
Tom, you are going in and out a lot. You might want to,
Leave and come back.
yes, I would give that a shot.
Here I go.
Let's see. We got a lot of people coming in early today. That's unusual. See, Tom is
So
still.
I just want to say, me and Maddex practice what we preach, that if the numbers work, even if the interest is high, go for it.
You
Good.
go for it. That's right.
Good. As long as those numbers work, right? That's what it's all about. So I just saw Marie come on. And I don't know, Marie, can you speak yet? Is that a Marie Hackney?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you? I haven't talked to you in so long.
Oh, I'm doing okay. Lots going on.
So I'm hearing people have chatter on Marshville and how good Marshville's getting.
Oh,
People
yes.
They're invading your space.
Yeah, I've got a rehab going on in Wadesboro,
Oh, good.
which should be done. I think we put the floor in yesterday, so it's coming up. It should be coming up on the market here in, I don't know, a couple, 2-3 weeks. I got a pretty good deal on it. Sorry, I'm kind of in my jammies, so I don't want to. I'm not on camera.
That's okay. One day we had somebody get on here that was actually taking a shower. They were in the bathroom brushing their teeth and putting on
You were?
deodorant, and we could see it all. It was wonderful.
Okay, no bueno, no bueno. But anyway,
Is that the one you were doing with your son?
no, oh, no, we sold that. We bought an Airbnb out in Waxhaw last July. I had it Airbnb until May. We sold it May. Oh my gosh. Can I tell you what we sold it for?
Please.
We bought it for $250. I put a roof on it. We painted the inside, painted the outside during that time frame, right? We sold it for $400.
Holy cow.
Yep, in less than a year. Mhm.
That is awesome. Okay, so everybody on here is very proud of you. That's awesome. And I want everybody to know that those days are gone.
Mhm. Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah, don't expect that to happen again. But your timing was impeccable. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty good. So we're looking for the next one, but thank you for asking.
Oh, I'm really, really glad to hear that. Okay, Tom, you're back and it is 7:33, so we're going to get started. If everybody would mute themselves, that would save me a lot of clicking. I'd appreciate that. And Tom, the floor is yours, my brother.
Well, thank you, sister. Good morning, guys. Needless to say, I've kind of missed the Fridays that we don't have, but yet, everyone needs, a break and a time for themselves. But, this past Monday was Memorial Day, and want to try to do something for our service people and those who had, given their lives. This is a true story. This story I'm going to read, it was concerning Desert Storm, which was in 1990. And it came out of the guidepost, so I want to read it. It said, the order had come down at last. The ground invasion of Kuwait was about to commence. My battalion would cross the Kuwait border as part of Operation Desert Storm. I was the second in command of 130 brave Marines who were about to face the most daunting challenge of their military lives. We already dodged heavy artillery fire, and now we are likely to face more dangers, like landmines and oil fires. Thousands of our waited just beyond the Kuwait border. It was time to make a final switch. Prayed, help me to lead my troops wisely. Watch over us, keep us safe. I walked from one group of Marines to another, talking to them about the mission and trying to keep their spirits up. Hunched against the dry, biting desert winds, we wrote letters home, maybe our last. Just before dawn the next morning, I gave the order to move out. The skies were clear. We slung our gear into our Humvees and began advancing toward the border. I felt a drop of rain, then another. In a matter of minutes, it was pouring. The rain came down hard and fast, so thick we could barely make out the desert landscape ahead of us. It went on for days. Each morning we awakened, soaked to the bone after another night with only camouflage netting for cover. Bad enough we had the enemy to worry about. Now the elements were against us too. Father, please make this rain stop and protect us. The rain continued to pound us relentlessly until we finally neared the Kuwait border. There the battalion halted. On the other side, the enemy waited. Rain or no rain, we'll soon be going in. We awoke on the day of the invasion to clear skies and glorious sunshine. As we closed in on the border, we couldn't help but stare at the astounding sight before us. The torrential rain had washed away the sand to reveal metal discs planted all across our path. It was an Iraq minefield. And so I guess the gist of this story is that many times when we wait on the Lord, we believe nothing is happening. We believe waiting is just being in park and that nothing is going on unless we do something and make something out of ourselves. And this story, which is a true story, to show that, this rain that they looked at probably helped to save many of those 130 men that this officer was leading, just by waiting and allowing God to do his will. And I said, with all of our, looking at the cemeteries on Monday and seeing all of our fallen heroes who, gave their life, to make us free and have the freedom that we have today. But, we have an enemy that we fight against, and he is not one, that the radar picks up or that the Border Patrol can stop when he gets to our borders. It's Satan, and Satan has infiltrated, our country, our minds, and our hearts. I said, it's a never ending cycle. I said, when I got up this morning and Dot said, well, there was a mass killing in Oklahoma. I said, when? You mean months ago? And she said, no, it was yesterday. I said, it's almost one where you cannot turn on any type of communication and not hear, something else that has occurred. But, the scripture tells us in 2 Chronicles 7:14, and this is who is spoken to. He said, if my people, God said, if my people who are called by my name, if we will humble ourselves and pray and seek his face and turn from our wicked ways, he said, then I will hear from heaven and I will forgive their sins and will heal their land. This is a command that God gave to his people, that if we will humble ourselves, if we will pray, for our land, for our country. And I just want to encourage everyone listening. I just want you to make sure that you stop long and that you pray for our land, because the enemy that we have cannot be destroyed, cannot be restricted in Washington or any other state capital or any other place. This enemy is only one that can be controlled and taken away, or is only by God. So I want to encourage us. I said, because there's so much chatter, about, the rules and guns and all of the other things, and everyone has a side and everyone has an opinion. But I mean, there is no side and there is no opinion that will be able to do what God can do for us. And all he asks us to do is just to humble ourselves and pray. And we can do that all of the time. Let's pray at this time. Gracious eternal Father in heaven, Father, we thank you for that. We are those who are alive this morning, and we're on this call, and we were not subject to some of these violent actions that has been occurring in our country. And Father, we know without your intervention that what we hear and see and talk about is only the tip of the iceberg, because men's heart always wax worse and worse and worse. And that we, Father, will not get out of our own way without your intervention. And so we pray for the hearts and souls of men. Father, we pray for you to intervene. We pray, Father, for those who wear your name, to speak the truth in love. And Father, for all of us, who know you, we know, Father, at the end, we have read the story and we know that we win, you win, we win. But Father, I know it's trying times that we are going through, and let us be those who can encourage others, to lift others up. And when they say, what can I do? We say, pray to our Father, lift him up, pray to him, because he has the solution to any problems that we have. And so, Father, we lift you up this morning. We thank you for your gift, because our men and women who gave their lives, but Father, your son gave his life. And he didn't do it for the borders of the United States, but he did it, Father, for the souls of everyone who has ever lived, that he gave his life to redeem us and to purchase us and to bring us back to you. And as we are in your fold, Father, let us be encouragers, let us be salt, let us be light. And we lift you up this morning, Father, through your son, Jesus, our Christ. Amen.
Amen. Amen. That was awesome. Thank you so much. It seems like it's every little thing that there's just tiny baby steps that get us away from God and in the dark.
Amen.
Tiny little steps. I was went to the Bonnie Raitt concert on Wednesday night. Coming back from Ovens Auditorium, I drove through downtown. Downtown Charlotte is gorgeous. If you haven't seen downtown Charlotte in a while, it is just gorgeous. The tall buildings and all the lights, they all do colors and everything. Every single building was lit up in the rainbow colors in honor of the LGBT, gay and lesbian. I don't ever get those letters right. It broke my heart. It broke my heart to see our entire city promoting this month that's been dedicated. It broke my heart. And I thought, gosh, I wonder how did our town, well, they don't call it the Queen City for nothing, but sorry, that's our nickname. And it just broke my heart. I just don't know how as an entire country, an entire culture of people, how did we completely change our value system, the way we think? We need to love and support everybody, but do we promote what we know is wrong? I don't know. I need help here. Can somebody talk?
Well, when they remember this, you have, when Jesus told Nero that my kingdom is not of this world. This is a world event that's going on, and when you don't expect that government is going to be on the side of God. It's God has his government on,
Boy, I hate that. Your internet's going crazy on us, Tom.
I'm sorry. Well, I'll speak another time then.
No. Repeat it again. We're going to give it a try, because you always have great words.
We have to remember, that Jesus came to seek and save those who are lost. Jesus didn't come to those who were righteous. He came to those who were sinners. His whole ministry was to save and seek those that are lost. And this group of people who identify as that, were born in hospitals and other places, and they are kids and children and moms and dads of people that we know, and we know some personally that has taken on this affinity. And how do we win them? If we can win them one by one, it's our ministry. That's the thing about Christianity. It's not won by blocks and cities and states and countries. It's won by hearts. Each individual heart has to be touched, and it has to be touched individually. And so that's the mission that we have, is that we also have to be seekers to save those who are lost. Nobody really wants to be lost, but they don't know that they are lost.
Right.
And they believe what they are doing, and I can be myself and do that. That's what our soldiers gave their lives. Those crosses in Arlington Cemetery is for us to have freedom. The sad thing about it is, freedom without restraints, freedom without laws and rules and precepts is nothing but chaos and anarchy. And so that's where we have gone as a country, is anarchy, and unleashed.
Well, we missed probably your last sentence, but that word unleashed came through.
Sorry about that. I don't know what's happening with this.
No, so some days you have, when we had our office in Lake Wiley, if it rained, our internet went out. I don't understand, but it did. Every time it rained, our internet went out. That was so frustrating. But that's such a great topic, and you're so just spot on with what you're saying. And I think it's important that people understand that we change it. You mentioned heart. It's changed through love, not by hollering and accusing and shaming and belittling people.
But when racism and everything else, sexism and all that, is when we start saying those people. But when we start calling people, when we know them enough to call them Wendy and Tom, or Don, or Paul, then we become more personalized, and there we have a greater feeling for them, for that person, when we realize you're like me, you have made some bad decisions. So let me see what I can do, what we can do together to tell you more about Jesus.
Right. We all need Jesus, don't we?
Absolutely. We're not going to live without him.
That's right. Thank you, Tom. That was awesome. Very much appreciate it. I do want to let you all know that the event in Punta Gorda in a couple of weeks is sold out. And he's going to start booking for next year, for people that are interested in going next year. But that filled up. Got a lot of people from here that are going. I'm really excited about that. There was one other thing I was going to bring up, and so we had in one of my mastermind groups, we do this thing called a fit call, which is like every Wednesday afternoon we get on and with other people in the group, and it's broken down into smaller subgroups, and we talk for, I don't know, about an hour, check in with each other, lift each other up, encourage each other. And one of the common threads, we have a lot of big lenders in our group, DLP, RCN, they're big hard money lenders. They're all talking about their rates going up, which I thought was really interesting. In fact, they were doing a lender panel, and a lot of the big lenders, including Lima One, were on the call, and all of them are talking about their hard money rates going up. Now, let me preface that by saying their hard money rates are in the 7 and 8 range, that they get them down as low as 7 and 8. You're probably going to see those go up into the 10 range, 11, maybe even higher. So just want to let you know that hard money rates are going up, but not with us.
Wendy, would you
Yes.
say that rates are going up or rates are normalizing?
Absolutely normalizing. And I'm glad you brought that up, Brian, because, again, we've seen it with conventional, but hard money and private money has always been not volatile, doesn't change a whole lot. I mean, when I first started, we were charging 5 points and 15% and getting it all day long. Now that's kind of unheard of unless you're in second position or something. So I think what you're going to see is people going back toward that price range. But again, just like Dawn said this morning, then the numbers have to work. Don't worry about the rate, worry about the numbers as a whole. And I also was listening to Eddie Speed talk. I don't know if you all know who Eddie Speed is. You all should know. He's like the note king. He was saying that there are a multitude of foreclosures waiting to be completed, and that we should see a lot of those flow into the market in the next 6 to 12 months. So I don't know. There's all kinds of stuff going on. Don't stop doing what you're doing. Don't run. The sky is not falling. Just be cautious is what it's about. And so from there, I'm going to turn it back over to you, Brian, and let you take off.
Well, thanks. I'll do a quick interest rate and mortgage update. I love charts because picture show it says 1,000 words, right? So can you see
Yes.
Okay. So this is the UMBS, which is the Universal Mortgage Backed Securities. This is actual mortgages traded on Wall Street. Okay. So they're collateralized, put onto the open market, and they're bought and sold on Wall Street. On this chart, up means better rates, down means worse rates. And we saw pretty much all year, I'm going to drag this back to this year, pretty much all year, it's like a slide, right? Like, whee! And then we have this little alley-oop at the very end. Well, this was May. This was like 2 weeks of May. We had a little bit of price improvement. And during that same period of time, we saw the stock markets really start to get shaken, right? We're starting to see some things unravel. We're starting to see unemployment numbers. We're starting to see more signs that the recession is coming.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had a little bit of a reprieve, but if we zoom back in, we can see, ooh, that's too zoomed in. We can see we started dipping again. So May 27th, if you locked that day, you were timing the market perfectly. But things are normalizing, back to normalizing. And I like that word because right before the pandemic, your 30-year fixed rate for really good credit was 5%.
Mm.
That's normal. That was us trying to get rid of some quantitative easing. That was us getting out of the 2020 or the 2008 craziness, right? So the balance sheet, the Fed had added all this debt to the balance sheet, and they were unwinding that. They were normalizing rates. Yes, rates were going up, but they're going back to normal. And so right now, we think we have high rates because we just came from a free money market, right? The Fed was pumping in trillions of dollars and artificially making rates stupid low. So right now rates are higher, but I do think that they're normalized. And I think that we'll have an opportunity to see some lower rates again. This is the 10-year treasury. On this chart, up means rates are getting worse. So it's the same picture, right? We saw things start to get a little bit better throughout the month of May, and now they're kind of tracking back up to the upward trend. The Fed Reserve, they're continuing to say that they're going to raise rates 0.5 point maybe this month, next month, and then September. So they're still being aggressive. They're still fighting inflation. So that's the overall arching theme, is there is pressure for rates to continue to get worse. We may see a top for rates, or for the 10-year treasury. A top means that's the worst rates we're going to see. So the top was May 9th on this chart. And we may go past that. We may see rates get a little bit worse before they start getting better. But the last couple of weeks shows that the economy is starting to feel the pressure of the brakes being pumped from the Fed, which is a good, healthy thing. And we need it to happen because inflation is no bueno. So there's a quick mortgage update for you.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah, when will all this stop?
Never, right? So that they're gonna overcorrect. It's gonna slow us down. They're gonna have to stimulate. They're gonna pump up some more discounts, and they're gonna lower rates to try to get us back. And then they're gonna overdo that, right? The government's always reacting. They're always. So when is it gonna stop? It's never gonna stop. It's gonna cycle. It's just gonna seesaw back and forth and back and forth. So rates will go up, and then they'll go down, and then they'll go up again, and then they'll probably go down again.
Here's what's interesting is the timing of when they say they're going to, raise it 0.5 point and then raise it another half. So traditionally, in our industry, the hard money industry anyway, or private money, is we've always had really good, spring, but July always tended to be kind of a dead month. August was iffy. September picked up, September, October, and then November it dropped off a little bit again. And it seems like they're talking about raising the rates during the times where we're seeing it drop a little bit in business, not rates, but business wise. I'm trying to figure out their thought pattern on that, the timing wise.
I've never noticed a correlation on the time of the year and monetary policy. I've not, because I've had refinance booms in late January, early February. I've had them at the end of the year. December has historically been one of my best months ever. And I kind of attribute that to people are making those big decisions. Hey, next year we're going to do this. So a lot of cash out refinances in December. But there's still a lot of purchases in December.
Mm-hmm.
For you being slower in July and August, that's my busiest season. I almost feel like maybe attention is put on school and moving my personal house. And so it's less into the investment arena. I almost wonder if my busy season and your slow season are linked.
Yeah, that's a good thought.
I don't know. I've never really talked to a hard money lender to find out when you're busy and slow. November historically is not good. It's holidays. It's a short month.
And Novembers are pretty good for us. We should compare. We should get together and compare.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, I love that. So Michael McGraw had a question here in the chat. It says, what activity can trigger deflation? How do overall prices go down? Who can afford to lower prices to lead the way? Is it the feds or major corporations like Walmart?
So I think, and I do not have an economics degree at all. And if Mary Habib hasn't said it, I can't regurgitate it really good. Right. But I think of inflation and deflation, it's really supply and demand. Right. And to me, deflation means there's so much supply. I got to get rid of this crap. I gotta get rid of it. So I gotta lower my price to start moving it. So I would think deflation is very poor demand and very high supply. And we don't normally see deflation. That's not something that we've seen a lot of. I think in early 2020, we saw some months that were deflationary. People stopped spending money, right? They were scared, they couldn't go out. We had a lot of excess in the marketplace, right? A lot of places weren't prepared for a market slowdown like we had. So I think you did see some deflation. And I also think that inflation is a nice hidden tax, and the governments, they're able to tax us in another way by continually inflating the monetary policy. I mean, their goal is 2 to 3% inflation. Well, if that's their goal is to tax us 2 to 3% of our money every year. But it's a hidden tax. It's not something you put on your tax return. And when you look at countries like Venezuela, where it's not a hidden tax, it's an overt tax. They were like 80% inflation. They're trying to take all the money from the people because they needed it. So I don't know. I've not experienced a lot of deflation, and I've not seen it in except for, again, little bits of period in like 2020. Stagflation's bad.
Right.
Stagflation's very bad. That's rising prices and rising unemployment. So people are making less and they can't afford the goods because the goods keep going up. That's stagflation. That's a horrible thing. And that's what the Fed's trying to prevent.
Yeah. Well, yesterday, Bill, on our Thursday meeting, my brother Bill was reciting some information he had read. They expected the new jobs, number of new jobs count to be over 350, and it turned out to be about 150,000. So that's kind of odd. And he also said, this came out through ADP. And then they also said that production per employee, like what you're getting out of production wise, normally is in the positive range, 6-7%. It is below, it's like at a negative. It's at a negative number. So what we're saying is we've got employees that we're paying a whole lot more for, and the production is way down for what we're paying for. Now, a lot of that can have to do with materials not being available.
Mm-hmm.
It could be that all these people that are working from home are not really working from home. It could be a number of things that are falling into that number. They tell you these numbers, but they don't tell you, where they're getting those counts from. I just thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, Elon Musk just said, stop pretending to work from home and get back to the office.
Oh,
yeah. So he told all his management team, was a headline. I didn't read the whole article because I don't have time to read all the articles, but I like reading the headlines.
yeah.
And that was his message to his management, is get back to work because you're not really working from home.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
not everybody has the discipline that I would think everybody on this call has, because if you're self-employed, you got to have discipline to be. In fact, you're probably on the other side of the coin, which is you work way too much. But you got to have that discipline if you're going to work from home. But it's if you don't have anybody counting your hours and it's a nice day outside, what are you going to do, right?
Right.
Awesome. Good stuff. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm going to just keep going.
Yep.
All right. So we're going to get into Bitcoin presentation week 2, a little earlier than in first advertised, right, Wendy?
Yeah, sorry about that. I had a cancellation. So I did give you 4 days notice.
You did. And I put together a little bit more. Are you seeing Got Bitcoin?
Yes, I love it.
All right. So I put together a little bit more of a presentation and put a little bit of data together for you. Last week, we kind of just talked openly about Bitcoin and some things that were happening. And this time I thought I would just do a little bit of a little bit more in-depth, how to buy it and where to watch Bitcoin and things like that. Please, if you have questions, interrupt, because I'd rather talk about what you want to hear about instead of what I want to speak about, even though I love hearing myself speak. So people think. Wendy, did you know I'm an introvert?
It's really hard to believe.
Yeah, I'm an introvert. This is work doesn't allow that, so you get into your work persona. But I need my 2-3 hours of downtime at night because I've exhausted myself all day long being extroverted. All right, so we're going to go over some terms, where to buy, where to learn more, and then what to do once you have some Bitcoin. We're just going to go through it real quickly. Obviously, this is not financial advice or investment advice. Do your own research, invest only what you can lose, because you very well could lose everything you invest. Talk to everybody who had Luna because they lost their shirts a couple of weeks ago. Quick overview of who I am. I actually do mortgages for a living. I don't sell Bitcoin for a living. Although, Wendy, I did sell Bitcoin for about 3 years. I would buy Bitcoin in bulk and I would sell it in little bits of pieces and I would mark it up 10, 20%. And the CFPB started investigating people who were buying and selling Bitcoin. So I stopped doing that because the CFPB is also who regulates my license. And I figured I can't jeopardize my way of living for something that is potentially questionable. So I cold turkey, like, boop, cut it off. And I was selling a lot of Bitcoin. So it was a hard transition, but it was for the health of the family. So there's just a little bit about us. I just got my Virginia license. I just applied for my Texas license. We just got licensed there. And Colorado, we just got online in Colorado. So I'm getting my Colorado license started in the next week or two. Hopefully
Awesome.
very
I'm
quickly.
glad you got Virginia. There's a lot of people on here from Virginia. Excellent.
Well, and that's the thing, like in North Carolina, Tennessee, South Carolina, Virginia, I mean, it's all only a couple hours away. And you get people looking for a second home or an investment home, they're flopping borders all the time. So I needed those licenses.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so some terms to know about Bitcoin. NFT is a very hot topic. You can think of an NFT as the opposite of the dollar bill. So the dollar bill is a fungible asset, meaning this dollar doesn't have a history. If I killed somebody with this dollar by giving them paper cut of death, and then I hand that dollar to you, Wendy, nobody's going to see that dollar and say, ooh, this dollar is associated with the crime, I'm not going to take it. Right? It is a fungible token. It can be interchanged with another dollar. It has no history, no record. It's not unique. Even though it has a serial number, it's not unique. And an NFT is a non-fungible token. It is unique. So think of it like artwork, right? So art, you get a limited edition. They print 10 of them or 100 of them or one. It's a limited edition. That piece, that Mona Lisa is an original. If I give it to you, it has a history. It has a set value. So that's all an NFT is think of it like art. It is that specific token has a history and you're buying it because of that history possibly. And so there's a lot of NFT chatter and things going on. A lot of the big companies, Nike, I think just released some big NFTs. So anyways, that's what an NFT is if you didn't know. Centralized exchange, that is going to be a Coinbase, Binance, Kraken. These are major, huge exchanges. Think of it like the stock exchange, the NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange. It's different places where you're logging into their website. They've organized a buy and a sell pairing of coins. So you're going to a certain place and you're giving your money to that place. So Coinbase, you put your money into Coinbase and then they hold your money and then you can buy and sell cryptos inside Coinbase. So that's a centralized exchange. DeFi is what Luna was a part of. It's DeFi, it's decentralized finance. It's saying, screw you to the man, right? To the financial institutions, to the banks. DeFi is a way for the unbanked or the people who are afraid of the government. They're trying to do things without major institutions, without somebody holding your money. So a lot of it's peer-to-peer. A lot of it is trustless. You don't have to sign up. You don't have to give your ID. A lot of it is it's decentralized. So it's an internet-based kind of open source way of doing business. And then there's DEXs, which is a decentralized exchange, where again, you're not putting your money into the exchange. You're connecting your wallet to the exchange and you're making direct trades with other people who have connected their wallet to that exchange, but you're not sending your money onto an exchange. So you're not giving up your control, your access to your coins.
Is there a fee to use a centralized exchange versus a decentralized exchange?
So that's a great question. Coinbase is going to charge you a fee. When you buy a Bitcoin, they're going to have a fee baked into that. Sometimes the fee is expressed where you can see that dollar amount or that separate line item. Sometimes that fee is baked into the price. So you're not actually buying at true face value. So let's say today Bitcoin's $30,000. Well, when you buy a Bitcoin from Coinbase, they might charge you $30,000, $200. right? So they've got a little bit of a fee. So you're buying it at a slight premium and they're making that spread. They're making their money off of that spread. Decentralized, same exact thing. Usually you're going to see the true, cost of the asset you're buying, but some of them will have their own token that you have to use as kind of gas. So you buy a token from the decentralized exchange and you use that for your transaction fees. Or sometimes it can be there could be a spread baked in and they're just taking 5% off the top and 5% off the bottom and they're making their money that way. So you're going to pay a fee no matter which way you go.
Gotcha.
The bigger, the easier places to go, like Coinbase, are probably going to be higher fees, right? If they've made the on-ramp easy, you're paying for that, if that makes sense.
Yes.
You're paying a convenience fee, right? If it's harder to set it up and you got to do more work yourself, it's like anything in life. You're putting in that sweat equity. You're probably going to get a discount. So you probably can trade on a decentralized exchange for less money than on a centralized exchange.
Gotcha.
But there's a different risk. There's no support ticket. There's no team to say, hey, I screwed up. No, you screwed up. You're sorry, you lost some coins. So on the decentralized exchange, I could list anything. I could list a fake coin and you could trade me for this fake coin and lose thousands and thousands of dollars buying air.
Mm-hmm.
Not literally air, but that has happened on decentralized exchanges. Is anybody can create something and you go make a stupid trade and you pay a stupid tax.
Wow.
So there is some safety in the centralized exchanges, but there's certainly probably a convenience fee you're going to pay for that.
Gotcha.
Keys. So there are public keys. That's your address. Like I can give you, Wendy, my public address if you wanted to send me Bitcoin, and you would see that huge long string of characters. And then there's private keys, which I don't share with you, but that's how I control my Bitcoin. On a centralized exchange, you don't ever interact with their private keys. They're holding the money for you, right? They're your custodian of your funds. So you don't have control. You're requesting from them, transfer to my other account or sell. They're doing all the work. They're holding and they have all the control. On a decentralized exchange, you hold the keys, you have the control, you press the button that says go. So you don't want to lose your private keys if you have access to them. You want to make sure that you're protecting those. And there's 1,000 ways to lose money in Bitcoin and losing your private keys. There's something like, I don't remember the exact number, but it's a huge percentage of Bitcoin in dollars that are lost. You know, people threw away a laptop. There's a guy that's been trying to mine his laptop out of a landfill because he had a whole bunch of Bitcoin on that laptop. And that laptop is worth billions of dollars. And he's paid hundreds of millions of dollars trying to sort through trash to find his laptop because he's got his private keys on his laptop in a landfill.
Wow.
You can't go to Bank of America and be like, hey, I lost my receipt for my certificate of deposit. Can you just print me another one? No, you're the bank. You lost your keys. You got no access to that money. So there is a danger to owning your own keys. And there's a separate danger to letting somebody else like Coinbase hold your keys. So,
wow.
Just like real estate, there's lots of ways to lose money. Bitcoin, there's lots of ways to lose money. But both can be very profitable, but both have inherent risk, right? You've got to do some research. Altcoins, an altcoin is anything that's not Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the name, brand, it's the big, massive monkey that's on everybody's back. When you talk about crypto, everybody thinks of Bitcoin first. But there's a lot of really good alternative coins out there that have tremendous value and tremendous utilization, but they're all considered altcoins. There's another term that I didn't put on here because this is a Christian group, but it starts with SH and ends with IT. And they call those, I'll call it crap coins, right? So there's 1,000 crap coins out there that don't really do anything for anybody, but people invest in them. Block or blockchain, that's basically an open ledger, a peer-to-peer way of doing business. Everybody can see everything. Most cryptocurrencies are on a blockchain and a public blockchain. So everybody can go look up the transactions. There are some private chains and there are some altcoins that are built around privacy and trying to be, sneaky is not the right word, but yeah, sneaky. You're trying to hide your tracks. So that is a protocol that's out there, but most everything that we're going to look at is going to be on an open block or a blockchain. And you're hearing right now blockchain technology. You're hearing the big banks wanting to figure this out. Blockchain technology could change the title industry, right? You go record a house, it's on a blockchain. You buy a house, you can't have someone steal it. You can't have someone forge your number or your name or change. It's all on a chain. And I think blockchain technology could change the title industry tremendously, but I think it'll be a lot of effort to get it on chain. But it's one of the easiest things I could see. It's one of the smartest things we could do as a country is put everything on chain, make it all public record, make it so you can look it up and you don't have to go through court systems.
Wow.
Cold wallet or cold storage basically means you're not making your Bitcoin accessible to the internet. You're putting a layer of security between you and Bitcoin. As of right now, if I have Bitcoin, I have my private keys. It is next to impossible for you to guess my private keys or to crack my Bitcoin. There's a lot of fear that quantum computing, because of the way that it does its processing and how much more power there is, there's some fear that quantum computing could actually attack cold storage, right? So if you've got your Bitcoin separated from the internet in a private place, and I've got some Bitcoin on pieces of paper, it's called a paper wallet. So it's not on the internet, and I've got it in a safe deposit box, and I have to go to it to get to my Bitcoin. Technically, someone could guess the private keys of that Bitcoin if they knew the public key. And the quantum computing is a possibility of something that could crack Bitcoin. Other than quantum computing, it would take 1 million years for a computer to try to guess. There's not enough power to try to break the blockchain, the Bitcoin technology and the complexity of those encryptions. It's just not worth the power to try, but quantum computing could change that. But cold storage is going to be just a way to protect yourself. So if you buy something on Coinbase, that's in a hot wallet. Coinbase uses hot wallets. They store some of their Bitcoin in cold wallets to try to make it harder to get to. But when you have your Bitcoin on a Coinbase, it's in a hot wallet. You can transfer that into other cold wallets or offline storage facilities.
Huh.
So that's the difference between cold and hot wallets. And then fiat. You know what fiat is, Wendy?
A car.
It is a car. I wasn't expecting that answer, but you nailed it. Yeah, your dollar bill is fiat currency. So when you're in the crypto world, you'll hear people talk about fiat.
It's a dollar? Like it's dollar currency?
Yeah,
I don't get that.
It's currency based on government promise.
Oh.
Right? The government says this $100 is worth $100 because we say so.
Just like a fiat, it's worthless.
Exactly. That's perfect.
Sorry for fiat owners.
You should be doing this presentation. I wanted to play a video, but this is a 10-minute video. I don't know if I can copy and paste that. Let me see if I can go back. I'll put this video on Sonrisers Facebook group. This is a great video. I love listening to this guy, Alessio. He does a lot of chart analysis. And every time he puts a video out, I watch him. Now, he is a guru for investing and for different chart techniques, chart reading techniques. I just love him. He speaks my language in his analytical approach to presenting information. And the video that I've got posted there, he talks about, I'll just pull it up real quick. Can you hear that?
Barely.
So he's going to walk through where Bitcoin has been and what it's doing. And he makes a case that we are probably near a bottom for this current cycle of Bitcoin because we're down. It's down about 55-60% of its all-time high. And I love listening to him. If you're going to follow one person on Bitcoin or about Bitcoin, this Alessio guy is who I would recommend.
Can you copy and paste that and put it in the chat box?
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can. I think I can do it from this slide over here. I have to go back. I can't. Every time I click anything, it takes me to the next page.
Okay, so if you can't, don't worry about it. Just send it to me later. And when we send out the recording on this, we can have that
perfect.
separate.
Okay. It's a great video. It's like a 10 or 11-minute video. He also sells a subscription service, which I subscribed to for a while, where he does breakdowns of a lot of different markets. Crypto is normally a main part of his conversation, but he'll go through S&P, stock, real estate. He does all kinds of different financial breakdowns of charts, and I just really enjoy watching him. There are other YouTube. If you just type in Bitcoin on YouTube, you'll find 100,000 people. Don't click the video that has like 17 views, right? Because that guy is not very popular. Click the videos that have 50 and 70,000 views. If it's a couple days old and it's got 50,000 views, a lot of people are watching that guy.
Okay.
Great information and a source of research. Anytime anybody ever tells me, have you heard of this coin? I look it up on CoinMarketCap. It tells you the trading volume. It tells you where you can buy it. It tells you the history of the project. It's a fantastic, it's like going to CNBC and researching a stock. It's got all that same information, market caps and trade volumes and some write-ups of it. It's a great website, CoinMarketCap. I actually have an app on my phone. I track a couple. You can go put in your own portfolio, and it'll send you alerts for when a coin's high or low. But I love CoinMarketCap. That's probably my second favorite website that I use for anything crypto related. Cointelegraph, CoinDesk, and CCN, which is Capital and Crypto. All three of those are great news sources. CNBC is actually a great news source for crypto also. CNBC covers Bitcoin a fair amount. But if you want crypto specific news, these are three of the top places that I like to go. There's 100 sites that you can go to. But these guys, you can go to their Facebook page, you can subscribe to them, you can get alerts. And they're just talking about what's going on. New projects, failing projects, tax bill, government conversations, just anything that's related to crypto. These are three really good websites. All right, how do we buy it? Dawn asked this question. I got you covered here, Dawn. The biggest exchange in the US is Coinbase. They're fantastic, they're safe, they're regulated. They're as safe as any crypto can be. And there was an article that said, like, if everybody tried to withdraw their coins, would you guys be okay? And they said, no, we'd be hurting. That's the same with any bank, any exchange, anything. If there's a mass raid on anything, it's going to hurt.
Right.
I think that I saw that article as a FUD article. FUD is fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And you'll see a lot of FUD about Bitcoin. News sources, fear sells, right? So if it's covered by mainstream media, I give it very little. I want to do my own research because the headline article is always going to be swayed to scaring the crap out of you. So I try not to read major news sources because they're selling clicks. You're buying clicks.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you buy a click? You have to be interested. Are you interested if they're saying, hey, Bitcoin's a very boring investment? You're not going to click that article. No, but hey, this kid lost $2 billion. You'll click that. Kid was probably an idiot and threw his laptop in the trash, right? Like, I like Gemini. Gemini is owned by the Winklevoss twins. The Winklevoss twins are the guys who sued Mark Zuckerberg over Facebook, and they won. They took their winnings of that lawsuit and they invested heavily into Bitcoin, and they are Bitcoin billionaires. And they created Gemini. And I do my personal trading mostly on crypto.com app. But if I'm not doing it on crypto.com, I'm doing it on Gemini. Gemini it's a nice, easy platform. You can direct deposit into that account. and you can dollar cost average, which means you're buying it on a set time. Dollar cost averaging is you're buying it sometimes when it's high, sometimes when it's low, but overall you're getting a good average price, right? So if you get a W-2 and you're paid twice a month and you put $500 into Bitcoin on every paycheck, that's dollar cost averaging. You can set that up with Coinbase or Gemini. Actually, any of these top apps you can do all of that with. There's so much automation now. It used to be, when I was selling a bunch of Bitcoin, it was very difficult for people to get onto Bitcoin. It was hard to find it. And it was lots of hurdles to start buying. And now it's very easy. You can do it with any of these apps, PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, Robinhood, eToro. Half of the online trading platforms have a Bitcoin option and possibly some altcoins. There's probably 5 or 10 different altcoins you can get on Robinhood and eToro. PayPal, you probably can get 2 or 3. Venmo and Cash App, you probably can get 5 to 10 different cryptocurrencies in their app. Sometimes you can't send your Bitcoin out of that app, right? So if you buy Bitcoin in PayPal, it's only going to be in your PayPal account. You can only sell it back to PayPal and have that money converted back into cash. You can't take that Bitcoin and send it to Tom because you don't control the wallet, and they're only a custodian. Robinhood used to be like that, where you could buy it on Robinhood, but you couldn't send it out. Now you actually can send it out on Robinhood. So these other platforms may relax and open up the ability to send Bitcoin out of their app. But a lot of the apps, you can buy it and hold it, but all you can do is sell it back to them. And even if they don't say there's a fee, there is a spread. They're making money. Nobody offers anything because they like to be nice. Just remember that you're paying a fee somewhere. You are. So just understand that. But convenience, man, it's easy to, hey, if someone sent me some PayPal money and it's gonna, $200 is gonna sit in PayPal for 2 years because I don't use PayPal, I'll put it into Bitcoin. Maybe that $200 turns into 400 or 600, or maybe it turns into $5. You don't know. It could. I love, and I put it separate, crypto.com. So I get a portion of my paycheck goes to crypto.com. And when it's in crypto.com, it goes to a US bank account. They have a US FDIC account linked inside my crypto.com app. And it sits there until I move it. And I can move it into a cryptocurrency. I can buy or sell cryptocurrency, or I can load it onto a prepaid debit card and they give me rewards. So my rewards are about to change. Actually, they did change on the 1st. But as of last month, I was getting 8% back on anything I spent on my debit card. 8%, Wendy. Crazy. Wow. Now, to do that, you had to, right now, to get 8%, you have to invest $400,000 into their app. And they just changed the rate to 5% back. So if you deposit 400 grand with them, and then you get their debit card and you put it on the debit card, you get 5% back in their coin. Their coin is called CRO or Kronos. And so it's not true cash back, it's cash back equivalent. And you can sell, so they're gonna give you that coin as a reward. You could sell it and put it into cash right away. But I'm a huge fan of crypto.com. I did not invest $400,000. I want to be very clear that that's not what I invested. I started buying that CRO coin when it was at 2 cents. And right now it's at 18 cents, but it was all the way up to $1. And so I upgraded when I bought my coins at 2 cents and it went up to $1. I was able to upgrade my card to the highest level because my small investment became very large. And now it's become very small again. I told my brother, I said, I've lost more money than most people have, which is a weird statement, but it wasn't really my money because it was monopoly money. Until you can take that cash and put it in your pocket, I call it monopoly money.
So let me ask you something. Why don't you squirrel your money? When you have a big win, what would stop you from just cashing out right then on a good majority of it and squirreling your money? I mean, that's how I always played blackjack back in the day.
That's a smart approach, right? You take your money off. And that's what I've done, Wendy. I've put my money into Bitcoin. It has made money and I've taken money back out. So I'm playing with house money right now.
Okay.
Okay, so it's not my money. So first off, it's not my money, it's house money, right? So when you play blackjack, if you're up and you take your original cash and you put it in your pocket,
Yep.
and you keep playing for hours on the bank, on the casino's money, you're going to play a little bit looser, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm not losing my money. I'm losing your money back to you. So the other thing is my little brother, he buys when you're not supposed to buy. You've heard of FOMO, right, Wendy?
Yes.
So
I have.
FOMO is fear of missing out.
Yeah.
And crypto, when it gets high, the news starts talking about it and everybody starts talking about it. And what happens when everybody's talking about something that's gone up 100%? Everybody rushes to put money in. They're buying at the top because of FOMO. And then it crashes because the smart people who bought in much lower, they're taking your deposit and they're cashing out with it. Right? And
Right.
and you're putting dumb money into an asset that you don't understand. A lot of people put dumb money into crypto. They buy at the top because of FOMO, and then everybody starts to sell and they panic. So my brother, he's done this like 18 times. Hey, I just bought some Bitcoin and it's like at 17,000. Bitcoin topped out at 20,000. This was back in 2015. So it goes up to 20,000. Well, like 16, 17,000, my brother, hey, I just bought some Bitcoin. It's going up. It's going to keep going up. And I love it. And I'm like, I'm not buying Bitcoin right now. I bought Bitcoin when it was $500, not at $20,000. So he buys at 17,000. It tops out at like 18.5 or 19.5, and then it starts to sell. Oh my God, Bitcoin's horrible. I'm selling it. So he makes like $50 or he loses $100 or whatever, but he doesn't actually, it didn't help him because he got in at the wrong time and he got out at the worst time. So you don't lose money until you cash out. And
Right.
you don't earn money until you cash out. It's monopoly money. When you put your money in, it's monopoly money because it's not real anymore until you cash out. So if I would have sold every time my brother said, hey, Bitcoin's up, you should sell, I'd have gotten out when it was at like $900.
Hmm.
Right now it's at $30,000. And beginning of last year, it was at $66,000.
Wow.
So if you don't believe in the US dollar, why do you cash out into the US dollar? I'm not a big fan of the US dollar.
Hmm.
And that's the reason why I invest in crypto. That's the reason people invest in gold. They don't invest in gold because it's a great asset. They invest in gold because they're afraid of inflation.
Right.
And they're trying to take their money out of the dollar. If the dollar is inflationary, it's taxed over and over, hidden. Your dollar is worth less and less.
Well,
Crypto-
I'm glad you're bringing this up because that's a great question. We really haven't had enough history on cryptocurrency to figure out what inflation and deflation, how it will affect crypto. Have we?
So back in like the 15, 16, 17 era, crypto did the opposite of what the market did. If the market went down, people were buying crypto. So crypto went up. And if the market went up, people were selling their crypto and they're going in the market. So crypto was going down. So it worked inversely to the markets. Right now, there's so many major players, there's so much institutional money into Bitcoin that it now follows the market. So if the stock market crashes last March or 2020, when COVID hit, we saw the stock market do a panic sell, but so did bonds, so did gold, so did crypto. Everything, every single asset class tanked in March of 2020. And that's when we learned that crypto is no longer the anti-establishment.
Hmm.
It's part of the establishment now because it moves with the establishment.
Right.
And that's because there's so much of the establishment's money in it that they have to. People, when they have a short sale, people borrow money off their investments. And when things crash quickly, they have to liquidate. Well, if they don't have enough to liquidate, they have to liquidate other assets to pay those bills. Crypto's part of that now. That's why everything crashed last or 2020 in March.
Hmm.
Now, inflation, cryptocurrencies, most of them were created to be anti-inflationary. The government, they just keep printing money. They print it and print it and print it. Bitcoin is on a set release. So it's no government can say, you know what? I think we need more Bitcoin because it's economic times are hard. Let's just create another $200 billion worth of Bitcoin and we'll pump it into the economy. That's what the US dollar does. And that's what cryptocurrency cannot do. Well, some can. Loon, the one that crashed a couple of weeks ago, it's exactly what happened is they just started printing more Loon because they were trying to keep a balance. They're trying to keep the Loon pegged to the dollar and they were getting withdrawals. So they had to offset that with more Loon. And they created a runaway scenario and it went to zero, or essentially zero. So long term, the idea is that Bitcoin and gold and other alternative asset classes are going to do better against the dollar. And so I talked to my brother about, well, what if we're not talking about how much your Bitcoin is worth in dollars anymore? We're talking about how much your dollars are worth in Bitcoin. What if the world reserve currency switched to Bitcoin instead of the dollar? Then you wouldn't want to get out of the Bitcoin and into dollars. You'd want to get out of dollars and into Bitcoin. So one of the reasons I don't cash out is there's a huge tax consequence. And in order for me to pay my taxes, Bitcoin would have to drop, I don't know what, 25, 35% for me to buy back in and not lose money just because Uncle Sam wins. And yes, if I'd have sold at 66 and I bought back at 30 grand, I'd be making some money. But there was no guarantee that A, it was going to crash, or B, that it would crash enough for me to be able to buy in and sell. So I do some active in and out, but I do a lot of holding or hodling, HODL, hodl. Hold on for dear life. So your 401k, Wendy, do you buy and sell the stocks in there, or do you put that in there and say, this is my retirement money, and you just leave it, no matter if it's up or down?
I leave it in as a retirement, but it's self-directed, so I can do what I want with it.
That's right. So you're taking more control, and most of America does not do that. They're not going in and out. They're just set it and forget it.
Right.
And then they hope and pray that by the time they retire, that account's big enough that they can live off of it. They're not taking that self-directed approach. You can buy Bitcoin so I have a self-directed IRA that's checkbook, and I have an account set up with a custodian that I can buy Bitcoin. You can put money directly into some Bitcoin IRA companies. And some of these are traditional custodians of other assets. Bit IRA started off as a gold IRA company, and they created a Bitcoin version of themselves. So they're a well-established custodian of IRA funds. And there's, I did a quick search and found 4. I'm not using any 4 of these, so I can't speak to any of them. Do your own research. But yeah, you can buy and sell. If my Bitcoin was in an IRA, I'd be much more willing to go in and out because there's no tax consequence.
Right.
But I have a massive tax consequence. So if I do a big sale, I have to take so much of that cash and put it on the sideline that it's hard for me to go in and out actively because I bought in so early. So if it hits 100 grand, I'll probably cash out and hope that it goes back to 50. That's, that'd be great.
There are normal, non-Bitcoin based IRA companies that are also allowing you to invest in Bitcoin.
Yeah. And there are now funds that are pegged to the Bitcoin. So you're buying a fund and you can do it in your IRA or in your 401k or in your E-Trade account where you can buy this fund so you can invest into Bitcoin. You're not actually buying Bitcoin, you're buying a Bitcoin ETF and you're buying a market that's pegged to the Bitcoin. But there are multiple ways that you can now experience Bitcoin through your day-to-day investing.
Yeah, we had a guy on our Thursday video that operates, he manages a Bitcoin fund, but their minimum investment is $250,000. So I won't be getting into that, but
so not for everybody.
yeah.
Just
right.
Tom.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right, so I'll breeze through the rest of this stuff really quickly. Once you buy Bitcoin, what do you do with it? You can leave it in the custodial. You can leave it on the exchange, and then you just sell it when you want to, and you get your cash, and you can withdraw your cash or whatever. Or you can put it into a hardware wallet. Trezor and Ledger are 2 of the biggest names in the Bitcoin space, and they're basically think of them like a USB thumb drive, and it's just an extra layer of security. You've got to have physical access to that hardware to release your Bitcoin. So you've now made it harder for someone to hack because they don't have your physical key. It's a physical wallet. There's a bunch of really, really good hot wallets. I have kept historically a lot of money on blockchain.com, and it allows you to store your private keys. So if blockchain.com goes under, I can import my Bitcoin into Electrum because I own the private keys. They're just presenting the place for me to see my Bitcoin, if you will, but they don't control my Bitcoin, right? It's just a way to tap into Bitcoin and interact with it, but I control the Bitcoin. And if that system goes down, I didn't lose my coins because I can transfer it to another place. I just import the private key somewhere else.
Gotcha.
And always remember, if it's not your keys, it's not your coins, meaning, yes, Gemini is well financed. They're well backed and they have some big insurances. But if they go under, you could lose your money. Same with Coinbase, same with any of the major exchanges. If they go under, you could be SOL. Mt. Gox is one of the biggest exchanges that went under. They got hacked, or they had some internal theft, or some of both, and they had a tremendous amount of Bitcoin stolen, and so they couldn't pay everybody that wanted to do withdrawals. And I had 5 Bitcoin on Mt. Gox when it died, and at the time it was only worth, you know, $1,000 or $1,500. But now that Bitcoin's at $30,000,
Wow.
those 5 Bitcoin that I lost, again, I said I've lost more money than most people have. That counts as part of that. I lost those 5 Bitcoin. I can't get that back. And had I kept that Bitcoin in my own wallet, that's 150 grand worth of Bitcoin that I didn't put that much into, but I literally lost 150 grand as of today. When Bitcoin was at 60,000, I lost 300 grand because I lost those 5 Bitcoin. So you can lose money in a very well-liked exchange. It's happened before, it'll happen again.
Wow.
And then there's the last thing, and this is getting a little bit deeper, but there's what they call staking. And that's where Luna, a lot of people were putting money into Luna because they were paying 8, 9, 10% returns, which is way better than any investment you can do at any bank. And it's part of that DeFi, decentralized finance. And there's a lot of places that if you have some cryptocurrency, you can park it and they'll pay you. Because what they do is they take that and they lend it to other people for 10, 20%. They're paying you 5 or 10% interest because they're doing exactly what Windy Sweet is doing. Exactly what Windy Sweet is doing, right? Wendy says, give me your money, I'll pay you interest, but I'm going to lend it out. And I'm going to earn more on lending it out. You're making a spread on that. Now you're making it in points. They're making it on spread on the rate. But it's the same idea. Hey, I have assets that are idle. I'm going to put them to use, let other people utilize them, and I get paid some money for it. So that's called staking. Gemini, crypto.com. I actually have that on there twice. I meant for the top one to be Coinbase. There's a lot of places where you can stake or park your money and get paid some interest. But remember, it's not your keys. If they go under, you lost your investment. I have some money parked on crypto.com. I have some money parked in Gemini and on Celsius. I don't have any on BlockFi, but it's another well-known company out there. But again, do your own research. Look into these companies if you want to put money in there. But the returns that you make on this are going to be significantly better than in a bank.
Wow.
Significantly better, but there is some risk. It's just like you said, Wendy, I could get 15% if I did a second mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
It's more risk.
Right.
Right. That's why you're getting paid more. Same
That's
thing. You're getting paid more, but there is more risk. So you just have to be understanding that there is risk that you're taking. And then some places will give you rewards. BlockFi, Coinbase, crypto, Venmo. You can get credit cards and debit cards now that when you spend, you're paid your rewards in a Bitcoin or a Bitcoin equivalent type of an account. And there's a whole, you can provide liquidity. There's impermanent loss. There's a whole nother way. If you go into the DeFi, the decentralized finance, there's 1,000 ways to make money and 2,000 ways to lose money in all of those programs.
Wow.
I did a very poor job of watching the chat box. Is there anybody that's got questions?
I've been kind of watching it through, let me get back to it. And no, I don't have anything. Wait a minute. Jason had said something, and let me get back to what he said. Technical analysis of cryptocurrency is just as silly as technical analysis of stocks. The only difference is that stocks have intrinsic value and crypto does not. Thought on that?
Jason, I love you, man. I disagree. It's
Well,
amazing when
Go
you
ahead.
look at chart analysis and you look at some of like the Fibonacci levels. It's the same thing we look at on the 10-year treasury and on the mortgage-backed securities. We can get from those charts some indication of resistance or some indication of some opportunity for growth. And that's what chart analysis does for any charts, but it works. The crypto markets have the exact same movement and the exact same patterns as any other stock. It just moves so much faster. So much faster. What takes a decade in the stock market can take a year in crypto, but it's the same exact trends. It's the same buy and sell signals. If you actually do chart analysis and you look at Bitcoin or a lot of the cryptocurrencies, it follows it so precisely that it's scary how much influence a chart has on the human psyche. And I don't know why and how that works, but it works. And I respectfully disagree with you, Jason.
Yeah, I also I also encouraged him to watch part 1, which, you know, really kind of, so if you're on here and you haven't seen part 1, you have to see part 1 because it'll really set you up to understand a lot more of what we're looking at here. Bryan, I have to say this. I cannot stress how incredible how an incredible job you have done in explaining this in part 1 of what it was, and then to come along in part 2 and dig even deeper like you have. The how. First you put the about in part 1, and then the how is in part 2. Thank you. It's so enlightening, and you did it in such a, here, any of you third graders can figure this out. You did it in such a really, really good format. I mean, it's amazing. I think what I want to do is take both of these, part 1 and part 2, and I'm going to not only send it out in an email to everyone, but I'm going to post it on all the Facebook groups that I'm on as well to encourage people to watch it. And what I really love is that you keep saying, hey, you're going to lose money. You can lose money in this, just like in anything that you invest in. It's, all at your own risk. You've said words I've never heard of before. It's like a whole new dictionary. It's amazing. Does anybody have any questions for Bryan? You're free to unmute yourself. I think everybody's eyes are rolling in the back of their head. Anybody at all have any questions? Because you've hung in there. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I would just say, Wendy, thank God for Bryan. I think
I'm sure his internet is allowing. I think the enemy is in your internet today, Tom.
You may want to get one of those like T-Mobile whole house 5G something. Whatever you're on might not be cutting it anymore for you, Tom.
you may be right. I don't know.
It might be. It might have been purchased with Bitcoin. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not.
So Wendy, this view, I just closed 2 weeks ago, and Dawn said, we're practicing what we preach. My rate was much higher. I signed the contract January 2021. This is
Wow,
Leadville, Colorado, and this is out of my back window.
Wow.
that's
that view.
beautiful.
Yeah, it's in a new it's in a resort area that hasn't turned into a resort area. So if you're looking for a weird little place to invest in, I love Leadville, Colorado. Every other resort around it, the cost per square foot is ridiculous, and you can get a ton of house in Leadville. So we just
Wow.
closed on our first house up there a couple of weeks ago. So I spent the last 2 weeks in Leadville trying to start prepping, putting beds together and chairs and all that stuff. But
So,
that's
so the
back-
downside to that is that picture was taken in May and I see snow in the background.
It snowed. So I left yesterday. It snowed. What was yesterday? Wednesday? It snowed Tuesday morning.
Yesterday was Thursday.
So it snowed Wednesday. It snowed Wednesday. It
That would
snowed
be June
almost
1st.
every day I was up there.
That's
One of
crazy.
the locals told me there's only one day on record in the entire year that they don't have recorded snowfall in Leadville, Colorado.
So how far is Leadville from, where's Ginger and Ken moving to? I think they're closer to Boulder. How far is it from Boulder?
Leadville's probably 2 hours. from
Okay,
Boulder. Leadville is 10,200 feet up. It's 2
Wow.
miles up.
there's Ken. Ken, where are y'all moving to?
So we're going to be in Woodland Park, which is 35 miles northwest of Colorado Springs.
Okay,
Closest ski resort to us is Breckenridge, which is almost due west. Or about an hour away.
So
how
you're
far
probably
is
an
that?
hour and a half from Leadville, because Leadville's about a half hour from Breckenridge.
You hear
Okay.
that, Ken? He's saying it's the housing is cheap there, cheaper than anywhere
Look
else
at the
in
cost
Colorado.
per square foot in Leadville versus Breck or Vale or Steamboat or any of those places. It is crazy cheap. It's like a fire sale. But they did pass. So I signed my contract in January 21. In February, they passed a city ordinance that you could not do short-term rentals unless you got a permit. So I'm number 25 on the permit list to be able to do short-term rentals. So I have to do 30-day rentals for now.
Right,
Wow.
right. Well,
That's awesome.
just from a percentage perspective, I think Woodland Park's housing is 158% of the national average. Colorado Springs is about 130, 135%. So that's the way I'm wrapping my head around that area at this moment.
Yeah, it's not a cheap area to be in.
Yep.
Or warm.
Yeah, we're at 8,600 feet above sea level.
Wow. Wow.
So higher than Denver. lower
Yeah,
than
I can,
Denver.
my
Yes.
ears are popping just from hearing about that. Bryan, thank you again. You are amazing. Absolutely amazing. Ken and Ginger drive safe. Tom, will you close us in a prayer?
Yes. Thank you, Father, for this day. Father, thank you for Bryan and all of his intellectual power that you provided him. And Father, help us to be, great stewards, whether we own Bitcoin or not.
Yes.
Help us, Father, to serve and bless others with.
Amen. I'm sure that's what you meant to say right then, right?
Amen.
I love y'all. We will see you next week. Thanks again, Bryan. Talk to you later.